a belief in our scientific community that's invalid. We have a false sense of belief in our scientific community, and for those that do, enjoy your ride, because a lot of people are dying and suffering from that. We've toxified our planet from that. We've killed each other by the millions with that, and that's per year. So how many years have we been dealing with allopathic thinking and pharmaceuticals? So how many people have died from that? And then compare that to how many deaths naturopathically worldwide, which I don't think there's any. You'd never take, when someone says you can't be cured, more properly they should have said, I can't cure it, maybe there's someone else out there that can. That would be a truthful statement, and certainly it'll be one from us. But when a medical doctor says no one can cure, that's not curable. That's narcissism. We have to get out of this medical thinking that diseases is an entity of some sort that is created by God to do harm to its fellow creatures. That's insane, and it's just ridiculous thinking. And you can't go to medical doctors wanting a cure. That needs to be a banner that medical doctors have over their office, and they'll take off a lot of pressure. We can't cure, but we can treat. Okay. Because truth needs to be told to people so they understand what they're up against. You're worse messing with too many people, especially with the cancers. You've got, the problem here we face. I saw it yesterday, I've seen it last week, and I've seen it many times through the years. Medical doctors have people so scared that they don't go to them anymore. No one should walk with fear, and you get a poor lady with a breast that's breaking down, she needs help. She doesn't need a biopsy and then a metal clip put in her. With the allopathic belief system, everyone should be cured. Right? Not one person is cured. Come on. You can't say surgery is curative, because that's not true. It's true in the sense that it'll help a person live longer if you remove a breast or something, there's a tumor in it, but it's not curative to the lymph system. It doesn't cure and rebuild tissue of the human body. Not at all. It's not what it's for. Now, if John, the naturopath, treated patients for diseases, he deserves what he gets. No offense, but you've been warned. And if his school and all this world that didn't warn him, then shame on all these schools. Because even the Southern, what's his name from the Southern, knows better. You've got to be careful how you speak, because you're interfering with medical doctors now. Medical doctors own the whole concept and the whole word diseases. They have encroached, though, over the line, making things that are not diseases, diseases. And that's ready for ripe lawsuits. But if they create the world diseases, copyright them, trademark them, I don't care what you do. But see how they've been wiggling in, making like acid reflux a disease. It's not a disease. So there's going to be a real bump coming between us and them calling everything diseases, so no one can treat but them. These guys are insane, and so is the AMA. The AMA is the big problem, not medical doctors. They're only trained. The schools, all this stuff, ridiculous stuff. But keep yourself safe. You're not treating diseases. You're cleaning and restoring the health of people. Sorry, I'm a personal coach, a life coach, or you have a detox center. Depends what your states and how they see that. You don't treat diseases. You're cleaning and rebuilding the human body. Remember, medical doctors don't own you. They don't own the human body. They don't own organs and glands. They don't. Too much invasion in that privacy will yield some serious suits in the future, and this will be the suits that blows them, because I'm telling you, there's way too much destruction of tissue and way too much ignorance in allopathy, including in emergency rooms. And that one you can't get me, because I spent 5 years of my life in ERs, so I know them quite well, guys, and I can just tell you that we can do it better. And if we join hands and the medical doctors join with us, that's a good power. The dermatologist then continued my antibiotic for another 2 weeks, total for a month, and a cream for inflammation. See, and the ignorant part of all of that is they're just focusing on the effect. And it's like there's no consideration of the cause. Because if there was consideration of the cause, that's what you would be treating. If you had to use the word treatment, that's what you'd be going after. You wouldn't be going after the effect. You'd be going, what's causing this? We need to deal with that. So that's the failure of that modality. and because they don't understand proper chemistry, they're working on these theories of alkalosis and the need for high proteins and stuff. They're hurting people all over the place. Wrong ideas, wrong philosophies, wrong concepts. See the lymphatic system. Boy, that's a biggie. We don't have anything medically to see the lymphatic system. That's the problem, and that's why it's left out all the time. X-rays can't see it unless it gets real dehydrated, and that fluid gets hardened, and you start to form a mass or a fibroid, and you start to see an image. Yeah, that's not good, is it? Because that means you're extremely dehydrated and that your tissues and your fluids are hardening. Nothing good ever come of that one. If you live with the concept of diseases, you are wasting your time in a process that never works, in an idealism that is ridiculous, and in concepts that has no remedy to it. I say that you can get your body healthy from any situation you're in, whether it's a neurological situation, a pain situation, a situation where you've lost calcium out of tissue and putting it back. I mean, think about what they use the name disease, what it's for, and what is the symptomology of that disease, and it'll lead you right back to acidosis, the lymph system, and all the effects and side effects of what that means. But if you live in the realm of diseases, you'll be no better than the medical profession, which can't cure anything.
If you ever encounter, I've had to do this multiple times, if you ever encounter someone coming to you and you all of a sudden feel overwhelmed, this is too much, I don't know what's going on, pull yourself back a little bit and just take yourself back to what you know. A cell and two fluids, logic coming into play, being simplistic with it. It can sound, any doctor can make anything sound big, any person can make anything sound big, but we know you always go back to the kidneys and the lymphatic. Those will play a hand in everything that you encounter. And if you get back to what you know, you'll work yourself through it. You'll help them work through it. And if anybody ever comes across a doctor that says, there's nothing I can do for you, or there's no cure, or there's no hope, that statement needs to be amended. First of all, I would run as far away from that doctor as I could. But second of all, there's nothing that they know of. It should never be that there's nothing. It's nothing that they know of.
But they don't like to put that little last thing on there. So why don't you try someone else?
Because they've been through so many years and they have this knowledge, and that is a vulnerability if they admit that they don't know something.
I'll stick another thing on there. They've had years of ego enhancing. Okay, so Consumer Reports just got it in, right? Survive your stay at the hospital. See that? And it says medical errors are linked to 440,000 deaths each year. Now, that's just hospitals. Autoimmune problem. Just remember, when a medical doctor tells you this is an autoimmune problem, that's the first indication this medical doctor or naturopath or osteopath or chiropractor hasn't got a clue what's causing the problem. That's your first catch-all drawer is, I don't know. It's an autoimmune problem. I don't know. It's in your head. I don't know. It's genetics. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of I don't knows. Well, we don't have a lot of I don't knows. We have a lot of I knows. We've got some I don't knows, but we have a lot of I knows, and that's what we need to change this world into. Get away from blood-focusing medical doctors. Get to the lymphatic system. There's where all your answers are. There's where all your answers are. That's where all your autoimmune answers are. That's where all your answers are. Go to that lymph system and go to acidosis, and all your answers will be right there. We got a lot of medical doctors that have changed, and now they're curing people right and left. Why can't we have our remedies? Why don't we have our, I look around and I see people with confused looks on their faces when you tell them things like this. Well, I didn't know that stuff was curable. You didn't know it was curable? See, I think one of the problem is, guys, is that we have so much medical for so long they can't cure anything. Suddenly nothing's curable and people have lost their hope. And the young people, everybody's lost their hope. They've been to medical doctor after medical doctor. You know, after you pass about 3 or 4 of the guys, pretty soon you're losing hope because everyone pretty much says the same thing. I have several family members that believe medical doctors know best about health. No offense. They don't even go to school for that. So how would they understand health when they don't go to school for that? That's what people do. I don't understand, you know, that's how good brainwashing that the World Bank does. Because you have to call it World Bank because that's Rockefeller's. I mean, you just got to understand when you look at them. Notice if you go in and sit down with a medical doctor and start talking about this, you'll probably get kicked out. You know, I mean, I've got friends that are medical doctors. We like to sit down and talk. But there's others, no, you know, because they don't have the facts and figures. They're working on theories and assumptions, and you can't have good conversations with people that deal with that because there's no factual, there's nothing to feed the truth part of the intellect. Medical world is emergency medicine and surgery, period. Not healthcare. Healthcare has nothing to do with medical. Healthcare, they kill people by the millions in healthcare. They don't know anything about health care. Because medical doctors, remember, they can't cure, but they treat. When you treat, you don't cure. It's that simple. You cure only when you address the cause of the problem. So when you chase the rainbows of treatments and testing and things like that, you never win. If you look in the last 5 years, at the amount of deaths occurred under naturopathic practice, under herbologist practice, homeopathy practice, and allopathic practice. You had 0, as far as I know. If there's one, maybe one, but you have 0 in naturopathic practice in the last 3, 4, 5 years. None homeopathically. That's about as safe as you can get, basically. So really, there's been no deaths reported to the disease control centers, the CDC centers, but on the allopathic side, over 1 million last year. Is there something drastically wrong with this picture? If we had 10 deaths, which would be staggering for me, I couldn't sleep if I had 1 from what I caused. But 1 million? I mean, I hope this is, I don't think minds can comprehend the amount of deaths being created through pharmaceutical use, wrong surgery use, medical doctor stupidity, etc., etc., etc. I don't see how you can say that's a viable science when it kills over 1 million people a year, and half of it doesn't make any sense. I think it's radical. I think it's alternative, and if we can't get you, you better look up a medical doctor. Mm-hmm. But it's not the other way around. Once we're cleaning up their messes. So not to insult you medical doctors that are listening, it's enough to say you need to get into our field now. And really, if you're a healer in your heart, you want to join us. You don't want to go down that same path because karma's going to whip. And the oncologists are going to get whipped real bad with this. Guys are probably going to go to jail for some of this stuff. So I would back away. You know, we're so used to, it's like the mind. You get used to certain patterns. People think they're safe. They go along, and suddenly life comes awake and serious problems. So you see the difference. So nature's not trying to kill us. It's man that kills himself. If you're going to medical doctors to get cured, you've got to screw loose. But it's not your fault, because that's the promise. Or is it the promise? I mean, when you look, they don't promise you nothing. They tell you there's no cure for it. They tell you we don't know what's causing it when they first tell you it's an autoimmune disease. That's the first sign that they don't know what's up. The first thing, if you go to a doctor with a problem, they say, oh, it's an autoimmune problem, I'd suggest you get up and hike your little butt out. Because you're not going to get any remedy. You're not going to get any remedy anywhere. Medical doctors are not here to cure. In due respect to medical doctors, people are laying way too much burden on them. Of course, their narcissism takes it when they should be saying, look, we're not about curing. We're about treating symptoms. We're about helping you symptomology-wise. So most people are being saturated with propaganda and lies. And if we just simply back up and tell the truth, show the limitation of the all-a-pass, tell them the truth. You recommend high-protein diets? You recommend pharmaceuticals or surgery? You recommend a very few things, and outside of that, there's nothing you can do. Control your symptoms with these. And if your friend buys into that, then, you know, either have him as a friend and just don't care what you're going to see, or find some friends that have a little higher awareness. No offense to your buddy, but, you know, there's a while where your friends can pull you down. Med schools are promoting the elitist syndrome, and it's very sad to see that. Very sad to see that our universities are promoting academics at a level that exceeds man's spirituality and therefore builds narcissism, separation in the wrong way. I tell you what, if medical doctors had to clean up their own messes, they might learn a lot, because we're always cleaning up the medical doctors' messes. And they come in here real bad, ratted out, been on pharmaceuticals for years, adrenals slaughtered basically, lymph nodes removed, lymphodemas from that, all kinds of bizarre surgeries that really was not necessary or ineffective, things like that. There's the good. There's the ERs that are good. There's also bad ERs, but there's good ERs. There's great surgeons and there's lousy surgeons. There's great naturopaths and there's bad naturopaths. There's good osteopaths, and so it ranks in every field. Let the Illuminati play with diseases. They can play with the medical community all they want. You know, each and every one, none of you guys, don't ever label yourselves as stupid. Some people, if they're not academically inclined, think they're unintelligent and stupid. Don't ever assume that. As soul, you can put your attention on anything you want, and you can accomplish anything you want. Don't let anybody ever tell you you can't. It's all about your desire to accomplish that, your excitement and your journey. Some people just don't want to know, and they don't learn.